Today, we're going to be going over our Advisor Academy series, and our topic of the day is chapter building. So how do we really foster those chapters, create really great, authentic, amazing chapters with students that are super excited to be here and are consistently bringing us new, fresh ideas. We want to be able to foster those chapters and create. Hey, Christina.
Hi.
How are you? Just introducing our topic for the day, getting going in a second, okay? Awesome. Cool. So we're going to chat about chapter building today. Now I've lost the entire screen. Hold on a second. So we want to make sure that we're fostering those really great, authentic conversations with our chapters. There we go. And creating these chapters that will have kids coming back year after year and really building those chapters to that extent. So let's get going. Hopefully this works. Okay, can everybody see Advisor Academy? All right. Did I lose everyone?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good. No, we do not want to do that. Okay, we'll just do the best we can here. So I want to make sure that you guys are doing well. You know what's going on as far as New York SADD National, everything this week. I'm checking in on my e-neighbors. So we do have National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week going on right now. That is going to be huge. We're doing a lot of virtual activities. New York SADD is, SADD National is. There is a file in the Google Drive with emails from the National Institute for Drug and Alcohol, NIDA, excuse me, and that kind of goes over all of the ways that they're transitioning their things into a virtual way as well. You can check back on all the things we did last week for Rock the Belt. We highlighted Rock the Belt last week, went over a lot of the different ways that you can transition the Rock the Belt curriculum or core program into a way that you can use it virtually. So I would check those out. And then I just want to make sure that we're staying on track here. Everything is in that drive file that you could possibly need, but if you're looking for something that I haven't put in there or something really specific, you want to create it, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I'm here for you. So let's talk recruitment. I know this is one of the biggest things that I've been hearing from a lot of our chapters. Hey, how do I recruit new people? The chapter has kind of died down. We've got 3 kids, 6 kids. What do I have to do to invite kids to this group and get them to actually be productive? So that's a tough conversation, right? And that's across the board. So we're seeing that there's a lack of interest or a lack of participation in a lot of different things, whether that's clubs or extracurriculars in general, sports. Everybody's having trouble getting participation right now. So from SADD's perspective, this is something that we've dealt with numerous times across the board, no matter where the SADD chapters are, New York or California. It's a consistent challenge to have those great kids that always show up, always do what they're supposed to, follow through with what they say they're going to do. And it's really about building them into our recruiters. It's not just about us as advisors being able to recruit students. It's about the students doing it too. So one thing I like to impress upon chapters is that your image really is everything. You might think that your image, you might think that your image is great, that SADD looks phenomenal to your school district, and it might, but it's about the way that it looks to your students. So your image is really, it's everything. It's every single thing that your chapter does to contribute to your overall image. So it's based on what kind of students you have in the club, what they do for activities, what they do for fundraisers, what kind of fun things are your students doing? How do they engage on social media? Are they different people when they're in the club versus when they're not in the club or doing something different socially? So your students are going to see this kind of thing. They're going to decide to join based on what they see and hear about your group. And if there's a certain type of people joining your group or a certain type of atmosphere that you're creating for your SADD group, they probably won't join. The biggest thing here is about diversity. We really need to see students from all walks of life, all different idea paths, all different groups from the school coming together to create one big group, where even if it's just in that group, they can all get together and use their strength to push a message. So skipping down here. How do we find that like delicate balance of students and personalities, right? So that's always the question. And I know that typically when we're talking about SADD groups, we see the same folks showing up. We see the helpers. We see the kids that are involved in absolutely everything. So they're already on student council, they're on National Honor Society, they belong to Leaders Club and Leo's Club, you name it, they're on it. They also play 62 sports and never sleep. So how do we clone more children? No, I'm kidding. How do we get more representation from those other groups? How do we see different groups of people coming through? And honestly, sometimes it's all about asking. We find that we put out these great big asks for people to join in the beginning of the year, and we put it out on the morning announcements and throw up some flyers and make posters. We maybe even have a club fair at the beginning of the year. But after that, what are we doing to really recruit new people? Are we consistently recruiting throughout the year? Is it an open invitation to drop by any time? Or is there like a strong cutoff for when you need to be part of the club? Sometimes kids are just asking for you to ask them to join the group. They feel like they might not be able to be included because of whatever the reason is. Or they feel like the group won't get along with them for whatever the reason is. So it's really important that your group of students or your core group of students, your e-board is actually asking people to join. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it's about. So we have to sort of change the image of what our group is a little bit sometimes. So SADD has always been known sort of as, you know, the kids that don't want to have any fun, or that's the idea that the kids don't know what, they don't want to have any fun, they don't want to engage in anything. And that's not true. What's true about SADD is that we want to promote that no use policy, and we want to promote living a healthy lifestyle and avoiding drugs and alcohol, risky behaviors. That doesn't mean we can't have fun, and that doesn't mean our groups don't have fun. But we want to promote that no use policy that we have without exclusion. So if there are folks that feel like they want to be part of SADD, and maybe they want to change themselves or change their image, we don't want to exclude them because at current they vape, for instance. We want to make sure that we're bringing those people into the fold. We want to make sure they have a voice in this conversation too, because they might have a very different perspective on how we go about the vaping prevention in our schools or traffic safety prevention in our schools. Super important to be able to do that. Hold on 1 second. Okay, let's try this again. All right. I don't know if we can all see anything. Probably not. I am getting to know Google Meet. This is my first Google Meet. So bear with me, I'm really trying. Working on our virtual efficacy. Okay, there we go. So we want to expand that image to overall youth health and safety also. So we've been known previously as either the traffic safety people, or we're constantly doing something that relates to drunk driving, or we're doing a mock crash around prom time. But that's something that we can also extend out to drugs, alcohol, traffic safety, healthy relationships, mental health, peer pressure, bullying, mentoring, really anything as it relates to youth health and safety is something that's under SADD's umbrella, and that's not something that too many people realize. That's a way that you can actually start bringing some more students into the fold. They have maybe a passion for mental health, making sure that students' mental health is in the right place. That's absolutely something that SADD can focus on. Definitely bullying and peer pressure. That's a huge one we get from all of our school districts across the state. They want to focus on peer pressure issues or bullying. That is absolutely something that SADD can tackle, and they should. We just have to be able to look at things from different angles. So maybe changing the image to the rest of the school and saying, hey, we also do X, Y, and Z, and kind of lay things out that way. Again, that could be something that you do at like a club fair. You could put on a giant poster. Hey, we also deal with X, Y, and Z. One way that you can do that physically is co-sponsoring or sponsoring the fun events at school. So if you have some sort of a carnival or a school dance or something that, let's say, the National Honor Society runs, you want to make sure that you're trying to co-sponsor things with them, or doing something where you're running the drink table at the school dance and making sure that everyone's being safe. You can still do fun things as a co-sponsor to a larger event. And again, it's making that image change that the kids are seeing. Oh, okay, well, SADD actually does do fun stuff. Oh, SADD gave me some free swag if you have the budget for that. So it's always a good way. We want to make sure that we try to avoid the can'ts and the don'ts when we're promoting our messages, because we know that never goes over well with teenagers. If we say can't and don't, it usually means please do. So we want to avoid those scare tactics. That's never something we want to get ourselves into. And then we really want to let our students take the lead. I hear from advisors all the time, I don't know what to do anymore. I give the students everything to do and they just don't do it. Okay, that's a valid concern, but is it something that the students are asking for and something that the students want to do? Because if it's not, then they're probably not going to be interested in doing it. And that's nothing on you as advisors. That is all about your students. They really are going to follow their passions and do what they want to in some respects. So you can gently lead them in other places, but for the most part, they need to take the lead. They need to tell you, hey, we really want to focus on traffic safety because we had that huge crash last year and it's something that we're really concerned about for our peers. We really want to focus on vaping. We see a lot of students vaping. We want to do this, that, and the other. The students have really wonderful ideas. They just don't know how to execute them sometimes. And that maybe is where you come in as an adult, as a leader, to say, hey, this is what we're able to do. Now figure out how to do it. And sometimes they just need those building blocks to be able to do that. And if anyone ever has any questions, just yell at me because I can't see you guys anymore. So when we're talking about recruitment is one of those things you're always going to see a drop off, and you're always going to see that there's some people that step up to the plate first for every single thing that you do, and then there's some people that are going to take a back seat or even just stop coming. And that always happens. It doesn't matter what group it is or how big your group was, you're always going to need that. You're always going to have that situation. But you need to encourage the leaders, the ones that step up to everything, to see if they can take it back a notch and inspire the rest of their peers to do something like they would do, let's say. Perhaps this would be an idea for like a rotating e-board position. So have an executive board position or a chapter president, like what do we call that? Chapter officer position, and change it up. You know, every half year, maybe change the whole chapter president or the whole board up. Do elections every 6 months so you get fresh ideas. Or even if you're going to keep the same chapter structure throughout the whole year, try to have one position maybe that's a rotating position so you can get a different idea and someone else can step into the leadership role for a month, let's say, and help execute whatever the activity is for that month. It might just give those fresh ideas and new responsibilities to people so they get the idea that, oh, stepping up might be a cool thing that I can do, and I'm not going to get pressure for it, I'm not going to get made fun of, whatever. We want to make sure, like I said earlier, we're making personal contact with people. We have to ask people to do things. Not everyone knows, you know, everyone in the school, and not everyone knows who's friendly with whom and whatever. Sometimes that's just a huge barrier for kids. You know, they see the same group of students or a friendly group of students joining the SADD chapter, and then they don't want to join because they don't feel like they'll be accepted. You want to make sure that, especially with your leaders, especially with your e-board, that they're being as inclusive as humanly possible to make sure that the idea of the club or the vision of the club is that they are united. So it doesn't matter what cliques, let's call it, are outside. I always encourage our chapters to go shopping in other groups. This might sound a little bit, like a piratey maybe, but visit other groups. I'm sure there are members of the SADD chapter that are also in something else. So they're in NHS, they're in whatever. Go to that group and see if you can do something in the first 5 minutes of that group and say, hey, SADD is looking for new membership. We're going to do this, this, and this year. This is a great way to be a part of that. You get national recognition, et cetera, et cetera. That's a really good way to start gaining new students because you know what kind of students are in that group and what they'd be interested in doing. So you can really tailor that conversation to them. Kind of along the same lines, make sure that you're introducing people to the SADD group when they first come on board or they first want to join. So if someone expresses interest in coming to a SADD meeting, meet them maybe in a central location first and walk them to the SADD meeting. So you walk in together, they're not afraid to address the rest of the group. This way, you're introducing this person as a person that you are bringing to group as a leader, that this person should automatically be accepted. They have great ideas, they're excited to join. And now this person also doesn't feel ostracized or concerned about speaking up in front of that group, or at least lessens that a little bit. We sometimes see in our chapters too, we have a big and little system, almost like sororities. So we will have a senior kind of mentor a freshman and bring them up into the SADD club, the SADD system, to really give them the idea, okay, this is what we do here, this is how we do it, this is how eBoard works, gives them the whole skinny on what's going on. And then they get a little bit, again, a better idea of what the group is like. They don't feel as scared to speak up and lend their ideas. What we want to really, really avoid is groupthink. So when we're group thinking and we have, one idea put forward, then we all sort of focus on that one idea and nobody else wants to put their ideas forward because everybody's latched onto that one idea and it's phenomenal. We really want to avoid groupthink because then we don't get those awesome other outside ideas that could really lend to the greater discussion or push us in a different direction. We also see that some chapters in the beginning of their school years do recruitment videos. So those are really fun. Again, you get to know the people that are in the chapter and see that it's a little less scary, especially for our freshmen and sophomore kiddos that want to join a group and it is primarily seniors and juniors. That could be a little intimidating. Social posts are really good too. I encourage all of our chapters to have social media accounts for the chapter. So Beacon High School SADD has a Instagram, let's say. They can put out everything from their club meetings on their Insta. They can say, hey, we're having meetings today. So if anyone missed the morning announcements, they will see that the meeting is happening today. They can put out things about the amazing meeting they just had and they all had free snacks. We know that food is the way to motivate our teenagers, which is obviously my next point. The social is the greatest way to involve your students in the chapter happening. So, and even if they miss a meeting, they can still see what happened. You can put live minutes on social and, keep everybody in the loop just in case they had to, go to a dentist appointment or whatever. And then food. Food is always the big one. So if you have any kind of budget whatsoever, please feed your kids. If you feed students, they will come. They are extremely motivated by any kind of food. But particularly things like pizza. So if you have a local food place, a pizza shop, a deli, whatever, that's able to provide you guys with food, donate some food to your club for a meeting, absolutely accept that. That would be a really great way to attract new folks to help you bolster your numbers. There we go, cool. One big thing I want to make sure that we keep the motivation flowing. So it always seems to kind of like wax and wane throughout the year as we get towards the holiday break, things kind of die down a little bit, pick back up. It does one giant, S-curve. We want to make sure we stay motivated. So one big way to do that is incentive-based, of course. So motivating them through leadership opportunities. So for some students, it's about those leadership opportunities that are going to give them a great resume for college. So they want to be on everything because they want to get into Harvard. And that's great. If that's what their thing is, then cool. But for some people, it's being able to attend other conferences and letting their voice be heard. So you can let the students know that we have plenty of state leadership opportunities, national opportunities, local events. I'm always looking for people to go to different local things where, you know, a prevention council or a large group is looking for students to be on their panel to talk about what the real problems are and how we address them. Conferences, we're having conferences all the time in different places. We have a national conference every year, which is unfortunately canceled. So hopefully you all saw that message. We have national conference every year, and the students are phenomenal there. So get them excited for those leadership opportunities. You'll also see that I send a ton of emails and things to you all as advisors. Send it to your students if you're okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. There's nothing in those emails that is proprietary or just for advisors. See what they want to do. Take those ideas and let them run with it. It takes a little bit off your hands too to say, okay, kids, this week we're going to do whatever. Let them decide what they're going to do. Here's the thing. Here's what you can do each month. Here's what's coming up. Get to it. Points are always a great way to keep people motivated too. See who's most engaged. Reward the folks who get the most points for whatever the participation is. So you could have that for how many times you've shown up to a meeting. You can give them points for being the leader of this activity or being the organizer for XYZ. Set up some sort of a point system. The more points you get, the next thing that we go to, they get first shot at going to it. Or if you have one large prize, maybe you've got a donation from the PTA or something, they are heading towards that prize for whatever number of points. Incentives are always a good thing. I would consider during this point making your e-board ineligible or having two separate systems maybe. So one for the e-board and one for those that are not on the leadership team. Just so that, you know, the e-board isn't consistently getting all of the rewards. Praise and recognition is a huge thing, especially for teens. We know that if we shut teens down once, you know, we're never going to get them back again. If we praise them, they're going to be ours forever. The teens are always looking for reassurance, so they want to know that they've done a good job. They want to, excuse me, sorry. They want to find ways to make you happy and make you see that they've done a good job. So find ways to highlight those achievements to their peers, lift them up as leaders and as chapter members. You can put them on morning announcements. If you have video announcements, that would be really cool. You can put them on a huge bulletin board and let the rest of the chapter decorate it for them and highlight them with all the things about them that they like, you know, do a favorites board and why they're recognized for that month. Put them up on social. Again, another really great way to push the message that we are not only virtually active, but that we recognize our leaders. A really cool way that I've seen some chapters do, they let the student of the month or whatever do a social takeover for the day. So that person who normally isn't in charge of social media gets to be the social media person that day, put up what they want, focus on whatever activity they want to do. So they can tag themselves, they can, you know, post it to their own personal pages, whatever. It would be really cool to see that. I would say celebrate literally everything that they do. They are pretty used to that as the teens growing up today, so they've been celebrated with every sort of trophy. Do appreciation days, you know, maybe do it by grade level or do it based on maybe a monthly observance like Women's History Month or something like that. You can also nominate your chapters or your chapter leaders for national awards. So SADD gives away Chapter of the Year, Advisor of the Year, and Activity of the Year awards, which are all scholarship money. That would be huge for some kids to get some scholarship money to go to school, tech school, whatever. And make sure that your e-board is on board with this method of praise also. You know, this is something that they're helping with. They're going to help to lift up the work, recognize the help that the rest of the chapter members are doing. So they need to be on board as well with celebrating everybody else. So big and small, celebrate it all. Okay. So to keep the energy flowing, As advisors, again, I hear very often that, our first couple meetings are great. The kids have wonderful ideas and then things start to go downhill. Okay. I would say start with an icebreaker at every single meeting. And this is something that is great for the very beginning when the students may not know each other very well, but it's also great to continually check in with the students and make sure that they're on the right path, that they're continually learning about themselves and other things and creating new ideas. So icebreakers are a great way to do that. Again, you don't have to think about all these things. Your students can do that. Your e-board can do that. You can have that as maybe a first icebreaker at the beginning of the year. You do an activity and then have everybody put something into a jar and you pull them out, for every meeting. Say, okay, today's icebreaker is blah. So now you've got all your ideas. You should create a system that's going to encourage your students to be on time, show up with their A game. So you want to introduce new members, like we talked about before, whoever brought them can introduce them, figure out, whatever your introduction is going to be, make it across the board maybe, and say, this is Harriet. Harriet's 5 favorite things to do are blah. Harriet wants to be a doctor when Harriet grows up, whatever. So a good way to kind of introduce new people as you bring them in. When it's nice outside, go outside. So students are tired of being stuck inside, especially after quarantine. We definitely want to get outside. Break things up as much as you naturally can. Like if there's a natural pause in whatever's happening in the meeting, play a game, throw an icebreaker out there. Be silly in the middle of meetings, do something crazy, break it up so that the kids are still having fun and they're not thinking that they're doing too much work. I like the idea of giving a prize or some sort of recognition for having a streak in attendance. So your students came to 10 meetings in a row, great, here's a thing. Or here's some recognition or whatever. One big thing I like from a couple of other groups I've been a part of, at the beginning and the end of each of their meetings, share a high and a low for the day. So at the beginning, you have all the students go out and say, okay, what was my high of the day? What was my low of the day? And then at the end of the meeting, say what I'm looking forward to this week. Again, kind of checks them in, lets them see where each of them have strengths that they can feed off of or similarities that they can feed off of. Again, they may not be the best friends outside of this group, but this is a good way to come together. And if you're both looking forward to the dance at the end of the week, awesome, cool. We can both get together on that. So it's just about finding those commonalities, those common grounds. And then really, how are we going to build that legacy and create the group of the future, right? So SADD has, of course, the problem where we have wonderful students and we build them up and then they get to senior year and then they leave us. And that's the goal, right? We want them to leave. We want them to go away to college or work or whatever. Awesome. But then we're left with a big hole because this person was very crucial to our group. So my biggest suggestion is to start recruitment in the lower grades as early as you possibly can. We have plenty of chapters that are elementary school chapters, middle school chapters. They don't do the same thing as high school chapters, for sure. I mean, they definitely have different goals in mind. But it does create a consistent flow for you of members from the elementary to middle to high school level. They're already involved. They already know the structure of SADD. They already know how SADD works. Maybe you can also have a position on your executive board for a rotating member of elementary school or middle school, where they can sit in on the conversation that you guys are having and be able to learn a little bit from it and maybe provide a perspective that they haven't thought about before. So I would encourage you to engage your lower grades as much as possible. And part of that could also be being a mentor. So a lot of our students are always looking for volunteer opportunities, community service opportunities. Mentoring is a phenomenal way to do that. And you can start that through your SADD group. You can start mentoring those lower grades, build the skill sets that they're going to need as a SADD chapter member for high school. And then you're creating your own leaders. It's a constant revolving system. You can also encourage them to set the example of what it looks like to be a leader in general, obviously, but then certainly in the higher grades, higher ages, avoid those substances, those destructive decisions. So there's sort of being mentors and teachers at the same time. Pretty cool. And then one thing that I like to dispel the myth on a lot is that SADD isn't just about schools. So we have plenty of groups that are in community-based or in different areas of our communities. They're not just school-based. You can bring your community into your SADD group. And that helps you in a number of ways. So one, it helps you with different perspectives and ideas. You have folks coming in from the community that can lend you a different idea, or maybe even lend you some funding opportunities. That would be really cool. Can possibly give you guys some food or donate some food for your events or your meetings, which would be phenomenal. But you're also putting this out into the community so that once school is over for the year, summer break happens, we're not losing all of that momentum that we created throughout the whole year. We are taking that into the summer and we're doing something different with the Prevention Council. Awesome. You already have your SADD leaders in place. They're ready to go. It helps your seniors too kind of take on that role throughout their summer break into college, kind of have a little bit of familiarity still as like they're getting concerned about maybe going off to school or what lies next. So it's a really great way to bring your community in, see if like your local library will let you host a community meeting, publicize it in their newsletter or their bulletin board, put it out there that SADD is not just about the high school chapter. Maybe try to get somebody from your local town council or a local elected official or a local law enforcement leader. They would be phenomenal at helping you out to kind of detail where we're at from the community angle and how SADD can help in the peer-to-peer angle. So another big one I like to ask, especially of our seniors, since I've talked about them quite a bit, is taking SADD to college with you. Put SADD in your backpack and in the car and then take it, wherever you're going. We do have some collegiate chapters, but we really don't have too many and we could definitely use more. And there's absolutely no reason why the work you did in high school ends at grade 12. We still have very similar, if not the same problems on a college campus that we do in high schools. And starting up a chapter at your local college can not only give you that friendship opportunity that you may not have if you don't know anyone going to school with you. It could give you connections to other places within school that you wouldn't have otherwise had if you weren't part of a club. It again is that like mentoring, volunteering thing that you may need for a future job or to graduate. It's a great way to transition the work that you've been doing all the way through your lower years into your college career. You can start a chapter. You can broaden a chapter or broaden another school group that has a similar message or mission to SADD and make that a SADD chapter as well, kind of co-brand things. You can take a approach of research, let's call it, and see, what is going on at my college, what's going on at my university that I could really focus this chapter on. So do we have a heavy underage drinking problem, or do we have a lot of teen drivers on campus that are commuting? So you could focus on traffic safety. Is there a huge proportion of campus violence that you can address maybe? So there's a lot of different ways that you can go with a SADD chapter on a college campus. It does open a lot of doors if you've already had experience as a chapter leader in high school. Basically what I'm telling you is to get to building your chapters. We really are all in this together. I am here for you 110%. So whatever you need, if you need ideas, if you want me to come chat with your chapter on how we can build a better ship, let's do it. I mean, obviously not right now, but I'm happy to web chat with your chapters. I'm happy to chat in however it works best for you guys. I want to make sure that we're addressing this in the way that is best for you. As I mentioned before, a lot of the information that I put out there is through that bit.ly link at the bottom. So you'll find all of the activities guides that I've put up for the virtual SADD activities we're doing for the next couple of weeks. Everything on National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week that we're talking about. We also have a virtual lunchroom coming up tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 that the kids can jump in on. We'll be talking about National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week and all the things we can do. I will also be, now where did I go? There I am. We will also be putting out a ton of information through SADD National. So there's 1,000 different ways that we can help you. If you need assistance, give me a shout. All of this information is also posted on the drive. So I record all of the meetings. I record everything, basically. So if you need to go back and look at it later, you're more than welcome to do that. I know not everybody can be here at the same time. Questions, comments, concerns? Wantings to get out of your house. Awesome. Well, I thank everybody for showing up today. I appreciate participation. If you have anything you want to chat about, you let me know. That doodle thing I sent everybody before, you can actually book a time to chat with me separately if that's easier for you. Really, anything, give me a shout. I'm happy to help you guys however I can, and hopefully I will get to see you guys in person sometime soon. Awesome. Thank you guys, and have a great afternoon.